It's funny how some of the most ancient stories can throw these curveballs at you, these puzzles that feel incredibly modern, especially when they're about money, responsibility, and what it really means to be wealthy. So today, we're going to dive into one of those, a story about a manager who gets fired, makes some very shady deals, and then gets a pat on the back from the guy he just ripped off. So what's going on here? Let's get into it. Right? And that's the big question that kicks this whole thing off. It's like the story just flips the script on us right from the start. A guy who the story itself calls dishonest gets praised. I mean, how does that even work? To figure it out, we got to unpack the story itself. All right, so let's set the scene. Our story kicks off with a guy who's in some serious hot water. He's a manager for a rich dude, and he's been accused of basically squandering his boss's money. And the verdict is already in. He's getting fired. He's got to turn in his books one last time. His career is toast. Or is it? And this is where it gets really fascinating. What does he do? He doesn't panic. He doesn't fall apart. He acts, and he acts fast. First, he gets real with himself. I'm not strong enough for manual labor, and I'm too proud to start begging. Okay, then he cooks up a plan, a strategy to make sure he's got a soft landing when he gets the boot. And finally, he pulls the trigger. He starts calling in everyone who owes his boss money. Okay, so this is his big move. It's kind of genius in a sneaky way. He calls in the first guy who owes money, someone on the hook for 900 gallons of olive oil. And he says, hey, you know that huge bill? Let's just call it 450. Poof, half gone. Then he gets the next debtor, who owes 1,000 bushels of wheat, and tells him to knock 20% off. See what he's doing? He's using the last drops of his authority to basically buy friends for the future, creating a whole network of people who now owe him a big favor. And this is the part that makes your brain do a little flip-flop. When the boss finds out what his manager did, literally giving away his property, he doesn't call the cops. He doesn't even yell. He praises him. He actually praises the guy for acting shrewdly. So what on earth is this shrewdness that's so impressive it completely overshadows the fact that he was just cheated? So this is where the story kind of shifts gears. It's moving away from just telling a tale and into explaining the big idea behind it. And let's be clear, the point here isn't, hey, fraud is awesome. Not at all. It's about a deeper principle that this manager, for all his flaws, totally understood. He knew how to use today to secure tomorrow. So let's nail down what shrewdness actually means here. It's not just being sneaky. It's about foresight. It's the ability to look at what you have right now and see it for what it is, temporary. Think about it. The manager knew his job was a ticking clock, so he used that temporary power to build something more permanent for himself, a safety. And this quote right here, it's like this story's big so what moment. It's basically saying, okay, take what that manager did for his earthly future and apply that same thinking to your eternal future. The method is the same, using what you have now for what comes later, but the destination is completely different. Then a text kind of lays out this logic, almost like a test. The big idea is pretty straightforward. It's like your life is a tryout. How you handle the small stuff, the temporary stuff, like worldly wealth, shows if you're ready for the true riches, the big leagues. It boils down to this. If you can't be trusted with something that isn't even yours to begin with, who's going to give you anything of your own? So, all of this talk about being shrewd, about temporary wealth versus true riches, it's all building up to one single, unavoidable point. You've got to make a choice. And boom, there it is. It doesn't get much clearer than that. You can't have it both ways. You can't hedge your bets. According to this teaching, your ultimate loyalty can only go to one place. You have to pick a side. So you're standing at this massive fork in the road. Down one path, you've got God, which is linked to true riches and that eternal future we've been talking about. Down the other path, you've got money, representing worldly wealth, which we've been told again and again is just temporary. And here's the rub. Both of them want to be number one in your life. They both demand your complete devotion. Now, you can probably guess that not everyone in the audience was giving a standing ovation for this teaching. In fact, the text makes a point to tell us that a group known as the Pharisees, who are specifically described as people who loved money, heard all this and just sneered. And that reaction, that sneer, it sets the stage for a second story. And this one is much darker. So if that first story was a clever little puzzle about being shrewd, this next one is more like a sledgehammer. It's a stark, vivid picture of the consequences of the choice we just talked about. It's a tale of two guys, two lives, and two very, very different outcomes. So first up, we meet the rich man. The description is short, but man, does it paint a picture. Purple and fine linen, that's like the ancient world's version of wearing head-to-toe designer clothes. He's living the high life every single day. And then, in the sharpest contrast you can possibly imagine, right outside this guy's gate, there's Lazarus. He's a beggar, covered in sores, starving, so desperate he's just hoping for the crumbs that fall off the rich guy's table. He is completely ignored, totally invisible. And then they both die. And in the afterlife, everything gets turned completely on its head. It's a total reversal. The story says the rich man got all the good things in life, while Lazarus got all the bad things. But now Lazarus is the one being comforted, and the rich man is in agony. The life of luxury he served didn't do him any favors in the end. And make no mistake, this switch is permanent. The story talks about a great chasm fixed between them, a gap so wide no one can cross it. The rich man, in total torment, begs for just a single drop of water from Lazarus, and the answer is no. It's over. The separation is final. But the story isn't quite done. It doesn't just end with the rich man's torment. There's one last chilling conversation that really drives home the final message of this whole section. So the rich man knows he's doomed. His fate is sealed. But then he thinks of his family, his 5 brothers, who are still back on Earth, probably living the exact same lavish lifestyle he did. And he pleads, he begs, send Lazarus back from the dead. Send him to warn them so they don't end up in this horrible place. But the answer, once again, is no. And the reason is simple. His brothers already have everything they need to be warned. The teachings that were already out there, Moses and the prophets, that was enough. They don't need some special ghost story. The rich man argues, though. He says, no, you don't get it. If someone comes back from the dead, then they'll listen. And the final reply is one of the most powerful and frankly chilling lines in the whole text. Basically, if someone is determined not to listen to the wisdom they already have, then not even the most spectacular miracle you could imagine, someone literally rising from the dead, is going to change their mind. And that just leaves us hanging with this really heavy question, doesn't it? The text is suggesting that belief isn't always about having enough proof. Sometimes it's about the willingness of your own heart to listen. So it makes you wonder, if a miracle isn't enough to change a mind, what is?